So, what is up, peoples of the YouTuberverse? Today, we are focusing on the unsung hero of shrimps, the ghost shrimp. For that one right there, as you probably could tell before she faded away into like the mistiness of this tank that I have kind of done on accident, but I think it's working for them actually because just the type of creatures I have in here. So let me explain what this tank is about. I had someone say that this tank is toxic sludge. That was rude, first off, but second off, this is what natural water kind of looks like. Not every tank is going to be clean and pristine. What you're going to have a lot of is just natural stuff if you really want to go for that. But ghost shrimp, I want to talk about them because I had someone ask me at my store not too long ago. A couple of younger guys, very astute, I would say, by the way they conducted themselves. They had the whole shtick and caboodle. Like, they were just getting into the fish keeping thing. The one of the young gentlemen admitted that he was a vivarium expert and he worked a lot with reptiles and stuff. And they came into the store and they were talking with me a little bit. Well, they interrupted me with another customer, actually. And their father just kind of stood off the side and around the corner like he wasn't even paying attention or didn't really care too much. But they started off with, do you have Otocinclus? Well, Otocinclus, also known as an autocat, micro catfish, other things like that. And I responded, currently, because I said the word Otocinclus already, I said the autocats we don't have any right now. I might have one or two, but they're not there at the moment. And then they dropped Neocarandina, which Neocarandina is a scientific term for, well, a Latin term. It's the way to pretty much the proper way of describing really or cherry shrimp, which are smaller than ghost shrimp. They have vibrant colors if you raise them properly and stuff. If you do muddle them with a bunch of colors, they'll be kind of brownish, almost kind of like grayish. It's a very dull coloring. They do not have the vibrant colors. And I said, no, we do not have we don't have the cherry shrimp. We don't have really shrimp. We have ghost shrimp. And they said, oh, that's the boring one. Let me tell you all this. Look at this right here. This is a female. You saw that. Why is her middle section dark like that? She has eggs. You know that thing on the top of their head? That's not their brain. That's their stomach. When they eat, you can watch the food they ingest. In fact, let me do this right quick. In fact, ghost shrimp, in my opinion, are probably more interesting than Rillies or cherries. And way cheaper as well, actually, especially in North America, because ghost shrimp are probably some of the favorite foods of things that are just pretty much cichlids, which include angelfish, actual cichlids, like the different varieties, and even things like discus and whatnot, all considered part of the sort of like cichlid family. And a fun, loose way and fun fact, piranhas can be part of the cichlid family as well. It's very interesting. I can go more into that in the future on things, but today we're not talking about them. So, again, very intelligent two young men, teenagers, I would imagine, or at least the older one was in his youngest 20s. I could tell they were trying to question my intelligence because I work at a pet store. Now, I do not work at PetSmart or Petco or anything like that. If you keep up with my channel, you would know I did work with PetSmart. And I think if you shop at any of them, that's fine. That's fine. It's cool. But unfortunately, if you work at a pet store, people are going to look at you and think, oh, well, this individual is here for just the paycheck, and they know nothing about animals. And normally, I surprise people very quickly, and everyone moves on. I actually have returning customers because they're looking for me and information I have, because I'm not only with the animals that you see I already have, I'm also very familiar with lagomorphs, which includes bunny and hare species. I am very familiar with canine and feline species, of course, with their domestic animals, and I've worked with them a bunch with my years of being on this planet. If you're in North America, you're at one point or time going to have interactions with the dog or cat, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. They're so abundant in North America. Yes, I'm going to know about them. And yes, I do know how, puppies, they need their grains and stuff to help them develop the stomach acids and stuff and the proper, just build when they're adults to process food. I know alpha hay for bunnies and guinea pigs and stuff is when they're young is wonderful when they're babies, but alfalfa hay has a bit of calcium in it. So just like with milk, you don't want it like you want to give them Timothy hay, high fiber stuff to help them process and push their food through. This is unscripted, peoples. I do not come in with a script. I'm just rambling stuff I know because, man, I'm just regurgitating good stuff that I learned from good people. I love taking care of animals. I've been herping at a young age and everything. You can look at my other videos and shorts. I don't want to be on repeat here. So, but ghost shrimp, compared to cherry and rillies and stuff, are, in my opinion, a bit more hardier and stuff. They do originate more in like Thailand and stuff like that. And when you find them in that native country, they will have no coloring at all. But the cool thing is, if you see some of my videos and you see some of the shrimps I got, you'll notice like orange spots on their antenna or at the bits of the claws right there, and even some spots maybe along the tail or a bit along the back area. They don't have any bone, so I can't say backbone, but along the poop chute, I guess you could call it. But fun fact, like orange spots will develop on them because in North America there's a bacteria, just like with flamingos why they're pink, and just like with boobies why their feet turn different colors. It's because of the stuff they eat. So fun fact, flamingos are pink because of the shrimp they eat. Blue-footed boobies have the blue feet because of the amount of fish they eat. And just like if you eat too many carrots, you're going to turn green a little bit, you know? You're going to have like a greenish color, so back off on the carrot juice for a little bit if you're seeing that, you know? Sorry, funny stuff. I know a lot. I love rambling, man. I really do. So anywho, another short video for today. Ghost shrimp are, in my opinion, as amazing as any other shrimp, as a monos and anything like that. So there is no boring shrimp, in my opinion. To those young men right there, I can kind of tell what you were getting at. And if they do ever see this video and what I'm about, understand you were not trying to one-up someone who knows anything about animals, and also the fact that you stood there in front of me and said, well, I'm not going to buy this at your store. I'd much rather support this other store, to my face, because I didn't have your Neocarandina species of shrimps because they're expensive and stores have a lot of trouble getting it, especially local, not big stores like PetSmart or Petco. You know, we gotta watch what we're doing. You know, I'm actually, as live pet care, as department manager for animals and everything, I've actually helped my manager of the store find cheaper alternatives to the plants that we're getting and stuff. I know so much. I even found a mistake about gouramis, where they said gouramis were live bearers. Incorrect. In fact, gouramis make bubble nests to keep their eggs safe, and they will guard those nests with a ferocity of a cichlid. So, you know. You know now because I know, and I know because someone else told me. Knowledge is amazing. Animals and nature's amazing. And no matter how cheap the creature or how different it looks, it's here for a reason on this earth, and it's part of the building blocks that create the whole biology system that we live in. And it's part of what helps us be healthy. You know, if we get into the details of things, you have microorganisms of spiders and worms living on your skin and hair at all times. Don't be afraid about that. They're actually keeping you healthy. So, again, the more you know. So anyway, with that, fun video for today. Shout out to Ghost Shrimp. Even though you're like 59 cents compared to the $11 that a Rilly or a cherry shrimp might be, you are just as important, and I love you in my tank, and I hope other people out there will understand that shrimp are amazing cleaners. They have a low bio load, which means they don't put a lot of ammonia or nitrates in the water, and they eat anything. They're like underwater isopods, which if you do find freshwater isopods, they do exist, and there's like the regular like insecty version ones of them, and there's a cute little dwarf version that Japan mastered and stuff. Amazing stuff. Look it up if you're in the hobby. I'm not telling you to go jumping in on freshwater isopods or anything, but I'm just saying they exist.
Anyway, peace out.
Oh, look at that silly shrimp right there walking on top of the water there. Crawling across the plants. Look like it's in a jungle. All those roots and stuff from the duckweed and whatnot kind of hiding the friend. That is funny. What you doing up there? Picking at the stuff up on the top, cleaning it up for us? Doing a good job. Keep it up.